21, beginning at 6 p.m. Our first item is to declare a quorum tonight, which we do have. Our second item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everybody please stand and face the American flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Item 3 is a public forum. Marilyn, no one signed up tonight? Okay. Item 4 is superintendent's recognitions. A, recognition of Christmas card artist Christine Parks, and the board members, if you can come off the dais and stand right in front.
Good evening. This is by far one of the best things that I do all year long. So if we want to have our Christmas card finalists come on in and line up in the front. Every year, Temple ISD does an annual Christmas card, holiday card competition. We alternate. Some years we do grades pre-K through 5, and other years we do grades 6 through 12. And this year, our finalists and our entries came from students in grades 6 through 12. And you see in front of us the 12 finalists for holiday card, and their teachers. Come on up, teachers. This again is probably the most fun thing that we get to do all year long, as we get to go through hundreds of entries that are submitted, and again pick the final 12. The final 12 get to be displayed on our holiday poster, and so each of the students and their teachers are receiving one of these along with their framed artwork entry for our holiday cards. We also produce the holiday cards, and they are available for purchase. I believe you saw them when you came in down at the front. But this is so fun, and we so appreciate you guys' creativity and just the time that you put in to create these designs. It is always so hard to pick the 12, so congratulations, you guys. Truly, truly a remarkable job, and this year was no exception. So we love seeing those. What we do for the last couple of years, what we've done with the final 12 designs is we have emailed the staff a survey and let the staff select who our official district holiday card designer is. And this year, that design was created by, is Taylor here? Taylor is not here. Taylor's card is depicted here. It's a snow scene with a truck kind of out in the country, and it's beautiful, just like all of y'all. So again, we just so appreciate the time that y'all put into this. It is, again, so incredible. Your creativity is just beyond anything that we could imagine. So thank you guys so much, and congratulations. And parents, you are welcome to come up to the front and take pictures as well. We'll make them stay as long as you need us to, so that you can get pictures. So, yes. But yeah, y'all don't be shy. Y'all come on forward. It's fine. We'll make them stay.
Just want to say thank you to everybody for doing this. It's actually one of my favorite things here at this time of the year is to see the incredible artwork that our students have produced for Christmas. So again, it's just amazing to see what talent we have among our students.
Absolutely. And if you are, when I call your name, if you are here, if you'll just hold up your design so that we can recognize you by name. Caden Taft from Bonham. Caleb Reyes from Bonham. Kerrigan Fritz from Temple High School. Dorothy Terry from THS, Gabriela Santiago Rodriguez from Travis Science Academy, Kennedy Eidson from Lamar, Layla Tanton from THS, Miranda Jaramillo from Travis, Raslyn Savage from Travis, Sarah Herman from Bonham. Taylor Street is not with us, but Zaylee Ward from Travis. So again, congratulations, you guys, and thank you so much. Okay, if you'll take everybody out that door over there. Thank you. And parents, you are welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to go. So either way, we understand. Thank you for being here tonight.
Item B is recognition of Temple High School theater arts students advancing from state to nationals.
And we do have a few of those students with us this evening, so we'll let them come on to the front while, oh, good to see you guys. Y'all come on up. Texas Thespians is an affiliate chapter of the Educational Theater Association, and it's one of the largest chapters in the nation. Each year, Texas Thespians hosts a statewide festival which includes over 7,000 delegates. Students earning superior ratings, which is the highest possible rating, during the competition qualified to advance to the national competition. Temple High School students earning the right to advance include Hannah Price and Melody Ordasky in solo musical, Kelsey Sider in stage management, Emily Perkins in makeup design, Janice Cody in lighting design, McKenna McVean in sound design, and Antonio Gordon in theater marketing. THS also qualified a group musical team made up of you guys. We have three of the total ensemble. That includes Terry Austin, Michelle Bowles, Jenna Bubinek, Kiara Edwards, Sydney Fisher, Colin Fowler, Andrew Fredette, Sanaya Galbraith, Skylar Gordon, Natalie Greenfield, Ashley Hosberger, Olivia Johnson, Jaden Mahani, Thomas Painter, Angel Santiago, and Victoria Stanley. There were several other highlights during the convention for Temple students. Emily Perkins was one of just 2 makeup design students to appear in the technical competition video during the closing ceremonies. Skylar Gordon was one of just 3 marketing students to appear in that video as well. Hannah Price and the group musical team were selected as main stage finalists. Terry Austin and Sanaya Galbraith were selected as all-state performers and appeared during closing ceremonies. And the dramatic design team of Terry Austin, Michelle Boyles, Rochelle Lopez, and Alyssa Magid won the contest as the top design in Texas and had its work for Jekyll and Hyde displayed throughout the convention. Hannah Prince was also just one of 40 of the 8,000 students selected to receive a $1,000 scholarship. And I know you guys are here on behalf of the group as large because I know there's a lot going on this week at Temple High School. We are so very grateful to you guys. Congratulations, and please pass on congratulations from all of us to the rest of the group. So congratulations. We're so proud of you.
Well, we're so proud of y'all. The talent, again, the theater talent that y'all have and the musical talent is something else. Would y'all care to say anything? Does anybody have any words? That's what y'all are good at.
I think, Colin, this is your second board meeting in a row, so I kind of feel like, what are we going to do next month for you?
Okay, sorry. Shouldn't put you on the spot without a script. Yes. So, again, thank y'all, and thank all the students who have participated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank y'all.
Perfect.
Item C is recognition of the Excellence in Construction Award for the Temple High School Swim Center.
And if we can have our representatives from American come forward, and Mr. Posey, I believe you have the trophy. The Central Texas chapter of Associated Builders and Contractors recently recognized American constructors for their team's superior performance and leadership on projects as part of the 2021 Excellence in Construction Awards. Their work on the Temple High School Swim Center earned one of only 17 Eagle Awards, which is the highest honor given at the chapter level. The Excellence in Construction Award program strives to honor those companies who exemplify the highest quality of workmanship in their projects while upholding a dedication to building projects on time and within budget. Representatives of American Constructors are here with us this evening. We have Craig Eilers, John Morris, and Josiah Cortez. So congratulations and thank you. We actually get to keep it. Yes, we keep the eagle. We'll add it. We have another one out front, so we'll add it next to that one. Eventually, we'll have a whole perch of them, I guess. So, yeah, that was the first one. Yes.
Correct. Just want to thank American for all the work you've done for the district. The swim center is just beautiful. It really is outstanding. And again, appreciate y'all's relationship with the district and our past bond and the construction. So thank y'all for everything. Thank you. Okay, I guess. Okay. Item 5 is executive hires, and Dr. Donna Ward. Over here. All right, there.
Okay, so Mr. Posey, Board of Trustees, Ms. Adams, I am here to present Mr. Willis to the board. The senior leadership team interviewed 3 candidates for the position of Chief Technology Officer on November 29th, 2021, and selected Mr. Vance Willis as the lone finalist. Mr. Willis received a Bachelor's of Science in Network and Communications Management from DeVry University in 2014 and a Master of Business Administration, specializing in cybersecurity, at the University of Texas at Tyler in 2020. Mr. Willis is a 1998 graduate of Temple High School and has served in a variety of roles in the Temple ISD Technology Department from 2004 to 2020, to include Technology Field Technician, Network Technician, System Administrator, and Network Administrator. He left the district in 2020, which we won't hold against him, to serve as the Assistant Director of Information Technology for the City of Killeen. Mr. Willis has been married to his wife Jennifer for 15 years, and I will say that Jennifer just finished her bachelor's degree and will be starting, moving from a para position to a teaching position at Meredith Dunbar. So big hand to you too. They have 4 boys. So Vance Jr., where you be? There you are. Demarion, there you are. Xavier, and Jason, all of whom attend Temple ISD schools. In his spare time, Mr. Willis enjoys coaching and mentoring kids in the community. So it is with great pleasure that I recommend, or the senior leadership team recommends, Mr. Vance Willis as the Chief Technology Officer for Temple ISD.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ward. Are there any questions? This does require motion.
Move for approval.
Motion by Ms. Suarez,
Second the motion.
seconded by Mrs. Davis. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Yay. Congratulations and welcome aboard.
First, I'd like to thank the board and thank the senior leadership team for the recommendation. It's a homecoming. I definitely want to be back here For many in the room that supported me, they know for the past couple months through this process, all I kept saying is I want to be back home, and now I'm here. So, very humbling experience. I'm not going to hold you long. For the ones that know me, there's two interesting facts about me. One is I'm not a man of many words, so I promise you I'll get out of quick. Second, there's one person in the room that probably has more excitement than me, and it's my mother. I would not be here without her. Just want to say thank you.
Want to introduce your parents?
Sure.
Yeah.
This is Virginia Leak and William Leak. It's my parents there. Okay, I can go on about her all night. But I'm taking a little trip down memory lane for me when what TISD has done for me. I spent probably 30 years of my life outside of being a parent, as a student, back as a staff. Nearing my junior year, not really having an idea of which way I wanted to go after high school. I knew it was college, but not really what profession. There was a teacher by the name Mr. Lyons come to me and started an electronics class. At that time, that was technology. So since then, I watched it evolve here in the district from what it was then to now. And what it was then was a little bag from Radio Shack, a couple transistors, a little circuit board, and with that, we created a digital timer. And so as I graduated from Temple High and it was time to choose a career path, it was that day that said I want to be some part of technology. And never knew it would be what it is today, but it was that vision that some board members, some staff, some leadership team at that time created that class for the district for students to take part of. And it's that same vision that I want to bring as being CTO for the district. Vision here is to inspire and prepare for future leaders for society. I'm hoping through technology, the decisions I make, the choices I make, the technology I put before teachers, staff, students, I hope that technology does the exact same thing. And along the lines with the mission also, to inspire and make sure that every student reaches their maximum potential. And I hope with my skills, knowledge, and continuing education, I'll be able to provide that to the students of TISD and all the other stakeholders. Thank you.
Vance, just want to say we look forward to working with you and your wife again here at TISD for the return. Yes. Should have said this at the earlier part of the meeting. Dr. Ott is not being able to be here tonight, and Dr. Lisa Adams, who's Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, is representing the administration on the dais tonight. So, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, please feel free. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you don't want to. No one's interested in the rest of the agenda? Yeah. We see how the diehard people are now. Yeah. Okay. Item 6 is the board president's report. A is the public hearing on redistricting plan in order to receive public suggestions and comments on redistricting the trustee districts. At this time now, I'd like to open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to comment on the plan, please come forward. Seeing none, I close the public hearing. B is the presentation by legal counsel of draft illustrative plan redistricting the trustees' districts based on recently issued 2020 census data and discussion of draft plan by the board and any amendments, if necessary, to finalize the draft plan for future adoption, which is 1, Temple ISD Draft Plan B Overview Map, 2, Temple ISD Draft Plan B District Maps, 3, Temple ISD Draft Plan B Overview Map, 4, Temple ISD Draft Plan B Summary Report Total Population, 5, Temple ISD Draft Plan B Detailed Report Total Population, 6, Temple ISD Draft Plan B Summary Report, VAP, and 7, Temple ISD Draft Plan B Detail Report, VAP. And tonight we have Gunnar Sequist with us to go through it.
Good evening,
Thank you.
trustees. It's good to see everyone. I promise I don't always clear the room like that. Good evening. Okay, we were here this evening to have the public comment and to take any comments that we had at this point. In terms of my presentation, just as a reminder to you all and for anyone else who hasn't heard me talk about it before, we are here doing the district's redistricting or rebalancing of the single-member Board of Trustee districts. And we are doing that because we've recently received the 2020 decennial census data. And so federal law requires us, based on that data, to make sure that each of the single-member trustee districts from which you all are elected are roughly equal in population. And we call that the one person, one vote principle. The idea being that as long as the districts are roughly equal in size and everybody's vote counts about the same. If one district is significantly overpopulated, it can have the effect of diluting the folks' vote, the power of the vote in that district. And inversely, if a district is significantly underpopulated, it can overvalue a vote in that district in comparison to the others. So we are here to make sure that looking at total population, each single member district has a population such that the difference between the most populous and the least is not more than 10%. And that's what we call that total maximum deviation. So we are trying to make sure that as rebalanced, each of the districts are within that 10% total maximum deviation, and that's what federal law requires us to look at and to do. And so we have had the privilege of preparing an illustrative plan and then holding a drawing session with the trustee members in public at our last meeting. Got some great input, made some changes, and that is how we arrived at the draft Plan B, which you are looking at on your screen here. And just by way of background, when we started this process, based on the 2020 census data, District 7 was the most populous. It was significantly overpopulated. And districts 1, 4, and 5 were light. So this exercise has really been about getting population out of 7 so that it balances out, and then filling in those other districts that were a little bit light. And just by way of a reminder, when we started this, based on the 2020 census data, your total overall deviation was about 71%. So we had some rebalancing to do. We had some movement to get. And when we get to the plan that we're looking at here, we got it down to roughly 6.3%. So the plan here is in good shape in terms of your balance. And let me make just one point that I try to make with school districts, because you all are used to talking about and you all are used to thinking about attendance zones. This has nothing to do with an attendance zone. This is only about the trustee district areas from which the Board of Trustees is elected. So it doesn't affect where anybody goes to school. It can affect, depending on where you are, which trustee you have the opportunity to vote for if you get moved district to district. And so, as I mentioned, the biggest changes that we were making were to try to move some population out of District 7 there. And just the areas where we ended up doing that, you'll see. Well, I'll talk. Okay, here we go. That's better. We'll look at District Precinct 1 here. And what you'll see is Precinct 1, north of the red line on the screen that kind of cuts across in the middle where the blue goes above that. That's an area where we took some population out of Precinct 7, which was heavy, and moved it into Precinct 1, which was light. And one of the things that we were careful to do in our drawing session is try to get that to where we had as straight a boundaries as we can respecting communities of interest and neighborhoods through there so that we had nice, compact, and contiguous districts, as well as getting our population balance. If we look, the other area that Precinct 1 was affected, it's small, but just at the bottom of that blue area there, that was a little portion of Precinct 1 that we ended up moving into Precinct 2. And so that helped balance out the population that we moved in from the top there. If we look at Precinct 2, let's see if do we have the next one? That's the only one we have? Okay, that's all right. The only change to Precinct 2 was that little sliver right there that moved. Precinct 3 took in just a tiny sliver at the intersection of Precinct 1 and Precinct 3. You can see there's a little area on the map. It's about 4 blocks long where the pink shading comes down into the blue. And that's a little piece of Precinct 3 that came into Precinct 1, or a portion of Precinct 3 that came into Precinct 1. Precinct 4, let's see. Yeah, if we look at Precinct 4 here, Precinct 4 just gave a little bit of area to Precinct 5 right there at the south end. And I apologize, it's a little bit faded and a little bit hard to see here, but at the south portion of 4, 5 took up a little population out of Precinct 4 there. With Precinct 6, Precinct 6 took just a little bit of population out of 4 as well. And that, where the two curves are between 6 and 4, we just took 6 out a little bit there and made a straight line there. So you had a nice compact and contiguous line between 6 and 4. And then 7 obviously gave off that territory that I talked about into 1 and gave off some territory into 4 as well. And by doing that, we were able to achieve that balance that we needed and also keep the districts pretty much in their original formation. And that's another thing I should mention. When we started this process, this wasn't a process of reinventing the wheel or trying to make any monumental changes to the district. What we've tried to do is start from the current existing map that the district has, make the changes that were needed to rebalance that population, but otherwise try to model as much as we can where you are right now with your district. So hopefully nothing too striking in terms of those changes. It does get us the population balance that we need. If there are any other changes that the board would like to consider, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, I think our plan is to bring this back to you on January the 11th for final adoption. And I can answer any questions or take any comments that you have.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your hard work and assistance on this. Members, do we have any questions on the plan? Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Well, you guys are too easy. It has been a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks much.
Item C is future items discussion. Any items anybody wish to discuss at a future meeting? Okay. Item D is important dates, and Dr. Adams.
All right, we have a few important dates highlighted here. Tomorrow night, we have Christmas Creations at the CTE Wildcat Workforce Center. Students have been working very diligently to make items to represent each one of the areas of study, and so that showcases tomorrow night. And you also can access that on the Wildcat Market online as well, so they launched that in coordination with that. And then on December 15th, it does say that there's a school board policy committee meeting, but remember that meeting has been canceled. And so the next meeting will be in January with Mr. Huckeberg and Dr. Ott. And then just a reminder, our school board meeting in January is on Tuesday. And so that's January 11th on Tuesday. And that's all, Mr. Posey.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Adams. Item 7 is consent items. Items A through G3. What is the pleasure of the board to hear and deal with these items?
I move that we approve all consent agenda items together as one.
Okay.
Easy for me to say.
Motion by Ms. Gowan,
Thank you.
I'll second.
seconded by Mrs. Myers. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item 8, action items. A, Human Resources, Dr. Ward again.
Hi, good to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
I'm here to give you an update on the teacher incentive allotment. Let me make sure I've got this on. Probably not. Okay. Would you mind driving? Okay. So the purpose of the teacher incentive allotment then is to help with us recruiting and supporting and retaining our teachers, especially in high needs campuses. And we know that Temple has a lot of high needs campuses. And it's also part of House Bill 3, which House Bill 3 has done a lot of good for us, I think. And so just want to remind you of that. There really are, you can go to the next one. There are 2 pathways to earn a designation under the teacher incentive allotment. The first pathway is through the National Board Certification. And we do have 1 teacher in Temple who is nationally board certified, and we've got several that are working their way through National Board Certification. We do partner with Midway ISD, and they are helping us because they have quite a few people who are national board certified, and so they are helping us with our processes and helping our teachers go through that as well. So we're excited about that partnership. And then the other option is through our local designation plan, which I'm going to walk you through right now. There are 3 designations a teacher can earn under the teacher incentive allotment. They can earn a recognized status, an exemplary status, or a master status. And with that comes funding. So the next slide. So our teachers can earn anywhere between $3,000 and $32,000 depending on their rank. But what we need to understand is that these funds are based on the number of low SES kids on each campus. And if you are a rural district, then you get extra funding. So while it says you can earn up to $32,000, that will not be the case in Temple because we are obviously not a rural district, okay? And that, once they receive a designation, that designation is good for 5 years. So in this slide, this will tell you currently what our teachers can make. Now this will change every year because remember it's based on our student enrollment and the number of students who are receiving free and reduced lunches. And so if you look at Garcia, their fundings is the highest for the recognized exemplary and mastery because they have the highest number of students classified as low SES. Does that make sense? Okay. So we did apply for and we were approved to be part of cohort D. So we're super excited about that. And so part of our designation plan then, there are certain pieces that have to be in place. And so one of those is we have to create a plan that focuses on teacher performance and student growth. And then Temple ISD has decided to add leadership capacity in that component as well. And so teacher performance then is 40% of our plan, student growth measures is 50% of our plan, and then leadership capacity is 10% of our plan. And so like I said, we were approved for cohort D. We are currently in the process of applying for cohort E, which would include reading, math, science, and social studies. And then we would also need to apply for cohort 4, which would include all of our teachers in the district. So the first component is our teacher performance piece. And so we will use T-TEST as our teacher performance because that's currently what we're using and there's no need to change it if TEA says it's a valid and reliable tool. We will focus on domains 2 and 3, which is domain 2 is instruction and domain 3 is the learning environment. And from those 2 domains, our teachers can earn a total of 40 points. So within those 2 domains, there are 5 dimensions, and you can earn up to 5 points for each dimension for a total of 40 points. And so this is how it's rated. If a teacher receives improvement needed, they would receive 1 point. If they receive proficient on a dimension, they would receive 3 points, or if they were distinguished, they would earn 5 points. And so the next slide then shows what a teacher could earn. So this would be their domain 2 and domain 3 dimensions. And so for each dimension, depending on how they're rated by the administrator, they earn points. And so for this first example, they would earn a total of 30 points based on the make-believe numbers I have here. And so they would be considered a recognized teacher, because TEA says to be a recognized teacher under the teacher performance piece, you have to earn at least 74% of the points, which in this case, this person would have received 30 points. On the next slide would be an example of an exemplary rating under under the teacher incentive allotment. And again, it's based on the teacher ratings. And as you see, the higher your performance, the higher your rating. And then the next slide would be a master teacher. So TEA recommends 90% on the teacher performance rating to be classified as master. So those are just 3 examples of how a teacher could be rated. The next piece is our student growth measure. And so according to TEA, because they have cut scores that they recommend, and we intend on using those cut scores, but we also will look at our data and determine where our teachers fit. So while they're not set in stone, these are the percentages that we intend to use. And so for a recognized teacher, they would have to show 55% of their students show growth on our growth measure. Exemplary teacher would have to show 60% growth, and a master teacher would have to show 70% growth. So the tools that we're using for pre-K, we're using the circle assessment, and we're just doing reading and math teachers this year. Next year we intend to include science and social studies, and they will probably have a different measure. Kindergarten through 12th grade, we'll use the MAP assessment, and they did pilot it last year, so at least it's not new to our teachers. And then our AP, IB dual credit teachers will be using student learning objectives, or SLO protocols. So for the circle growth measure, we will, in order for a student to count for a teacher, they have to have taken the fall assessment, they have to be on our PEAMS winter enrollment, which is in October, and then they have to have taken the spring assessment. So they'll have 3 touch points. And they also have to have taken the beginning of the year and the end of year assessment in the same language. So it's either Spanish, Spanish, or English, English. And then the teacher should have at least 15 unique growth records, which means 15 students on their roster to count. So then growth at the circle for the circle assessment would be defined as achieving a minimum of 1 higher level based on the student's age on phonological awareness and math, or maintaining on track from beginning of year to end of year. Because we know some kids come in already on track, and so as long as they don't digress, they will count as a positive growth. For the MAP assessment for K through 12 teachers, again, the same data points apply. Yeah, they have to take the test in the fall, they have to be on the PEAMS, and they have to be on the spring. But their growth will be defined as the meeting or exceeding the projected RIT score. So when students take a test, they get a RIT score, and then they get a projected RIT score. And students who meet that projected RIT score will count as a positive growth measure for that teacher. Okay? And then on this student learning objective, students must follow the same 3 data points, but their growth will be defined as meeting the targeted skill profile by the end of the year assessment. So they set goals, and they have to meet those goals by the end of the year. Our next piece is our leadership capacity. This was probably the trickiest one to put into place because it could be subjective. And so we broke it down into 4 categories that teachers can earn points to get their leadership capacity requirements. And so one would be collaborative practices. So if they're working with their team teachers to help their teachers grow and move forward, that would be a collaborative practice. Mentorship is another one. So if you're mentoring teachers, that would count. And so any type of mentorship would count. School community involvement, because we know that's an important practice in our schools, is being involved in our community. And then supporting the campus vision, mission, and values. So anything that's connected to those 4 practices would earn teachers points. And then we have our spending plan, which is probably what teachers are most excited about. I know I would be if I was still in the classroom. And so we had the only rule is that 10% goes to, no, that's not right. We can give 90% to the teacher. We can give 100% to the teacher. We can take that 100% and divide it among teams. And so I could say, your team, if you earn this certain point, will get the money. But what Temple ISD has decided to do is give 90% of the funds to the teacher, and 10% goes back to the district to help support the teacher incentive allotment plan. The MAP assessment is a very expensive program, and so the funding that we would receive, 10% could help pay for that MAP assessment. And so, and we decided to give 90% to the designated teacher because we want to incentivize our highly qualified teachers to work on our highest needs campuses. And so we're hoping that that will help with that. And the payment will be paid as a stipend in August. The first payment will be given to teachers in August of 2023. And the reason it's August of 2023 is because this year is our data collection year. So we'll look at teachers' performance, we'll look at their student growth measures and their leadership capacity this year. We will turn in our documentation to Texas Tech next November, and then we'll get our names of our teachers who qualify. And so that's when we pay out, is when we have our teachers identified. So it seems like, man, it's a long time, but we have to collect our data before we can do anything with it, okay? And then those funds follow the teacher. So if a teacher leaves here and they, God forbid, go to Belton, right? They would get paid according to Belton's low SCS numbers. So wherever they go, that's the money goes from that district. And then we'll receive a snapshot of a list of all of our teachers that qualify in February, and those are the teachers that we would pay out. So we have gone through steps 1, 2, and we are in step 3 right now, which is our data capture year. Next year we'll submit our data, and then we'll get our approval of our teachers who have earned a designation, and we will pay them out. And then our next step is to apply for cohort E. You can go to the next one. So cohort E, the nice thing that TEA has done is they have reduced the application for those who have already qualified for a system, and so you only have to focus on the new content areas that you're putting in. And so we're excited about that, moving forward with science and social studies next year. And with that, do you have any questions?
Are there any questions for Dr. Ward?
I have a question. So the designation stays with them for 5 years?
Yes,
So if
ma'am.
they transfer to a different campus, they still have that designation?
Yes, ma'am.
But their stipend changes according to what that district has as far as low SES? Okay.
Correct, according to the campus that they're at.
And, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And then the thing teachers know, or they should know, is that they cannot go down. So once they get that, say they earn a recognized status, a recognized designation, they can move up. So the next year, if their data shows that they would be an exemplary teacher, we can submit their name for a higher rating. But if for some reason their data goes down the next year for whatever reason, we would not submit their name for them to be taken off. After the 5th year, we would resubmit their name for approval, and then they could say yes or no.
So everyone gets, in those subjects, gets evaluated every year? And they
Yes.
might go up, but they won't go down. And if they don't get a designation 1 year, they don't have to wait 5 years till it gets redone?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
Any others? All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Item B is curriculum instructions. 1, Temple High School course catalog update for 2022, 2023. Renata Rogers. Ms. Rogers, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Adams, Mr. Posey, members of the board. It's great to see you again. You'll remember last month I visited with you all about the middle school catalog and the changes that were made. So today I'm here to talk about the high school catalog changes. And so first, the TSIA is a college entrance exam, and that assessment was completely revamped, and so the cut scores were changed. So we just needed to update those cut scores in the catalog. There was some confusion with parents about some of our language when it came to credit by exam, and so we just clarified that language in the catalog. And we previously were allowing seniors to have up to 2 open periods, but with students having an 8-period day, they're able to reach their credit requirements much more quickly than in the past, and so there's no reason to have students at school longer than they need to be. And so this allows students to go to work or take care of family business if they need to by having up to 3 open periods in their schedule. And so those are the general changes that were made. We also made just one minor change in fine arts. We had a course for our students who receive special education services. And in the course catalog, it was very clearly identifying that that course was for special education students. And so this adjustment just takes away that identification so that we are respecting students' privacy. CTE had several changes. Most of them had to do with supply fees being updated, making sure that prerequisites were updated. We have some new dual credit opportunities for students, and so those were updated and explained. Students in graphic design and illustration no longer produce our yearbook, and so they're taking a different avenue with that. We have several classes now, especially when they get to the practicum level, that require outside learning opportunities, and so our students that work at the football game and do video, and so the catalog just clarifies those expectations. And then we have a new opportunity for our most advanced construction technology students to take a practicum. And so that course description is there for you. And then much like fine arts, the rest of the changes that you see have to do again with our special education students. TEA did away with our CTED courses, which were designated kind of buddy classes for our SPED students and our general education students. And so these are, this is a new pathway that gives our special education students the opportunity to participate in some valuable learning in their CTE courses. Are there any questions? And the current year catalog is linked for you below, and we'll link in this new catalog for you as well on the website.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2, consideration for approval of waiver to use alternative 7th grade reading instrument for the 2020-2021 school year.
TEA requires that we complete dyslexia screening for our 7th grade students who are not successful on the 6th grade STAR reading assessment. And so last spring, we made our plan to take the committee option to not use the TEA, one of the TEA approved assessments. We wanted to have a committee approve a separate assessment. And so we assembled our committee, we chose our assessment, and when we returned in August, we were notified by TEA that they were changing the rules on us. And so we must request a waiver to use the other assessment. And so that's why I'm here today, to get your approval to use the MAP fluency assessment. We went with that assessment because, as Dr. Ward already mentioned, our students were already using the MAP assessment for the TIA purposes and growth purposes. So we just wanted to stick with the same assessment and not have students and teachers working in different programs. And so we are requesting your approval to submit that waiver just for this year for the MAP fluency to screen our 7th grade students.
All right, is there any questions? This does require board approval.
Move for approval.
Moved by Ms. Suarez,
Second the motion.
seconded by Mrs. Davis. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Item C is finance and facilities. 1, consideration for approval of the purchase and installation of the Smart Tag program for the Transportation Department. And Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Posey, School Board. Really exciting program we'd like to bring to you tonight to visit about. It's something that our Transportation Department and our Technology Department both worked hand in hand on earlier in the fall. So they wanted to take a good look at this and make sure we knew what we were getting into, and they've both come with a strong recommendation for that, and that is the Smart Tag Transportation Tracking System. What this is a program that's provided by Secured Mobility that improves safety, security, visibility, and communication for all of our transportation systems. It allows tracking of students. It allows real-time reporting of where students are and monitoring so that both parents and administrators can keep up with where people are. It's a really nice program. We have some neighboring districts in this area that use it, and they can't say enough good things about it. It takes a lot of the potential for human error out of the equation. And one of the things that I think comes up that all schools deal with at the beginning of the year is when you have students that are new, especially young ones that aren't aware of where their bus stop might be in the afternoon when they're getting off. Sometimes, and we try hard, but sometimes they might get off at the wrong one, or they might miss their bus stop not knowing which one and end up riding all the way back, and then we take them back to the transportation department and call parents. And that's part of some of the bumps that you have every year when you're transporting such a large number of students, especially younger children. This system allows you to take a lot of that out because it's going to tell the parent, the driver with a tablet, exactly who gets off and where. And so the tracking is exquisite. Parents can tell. Kind of like Find My iPhone, you'll be able to tell where your student is. So it's a wonderful program for not only the routing and the tracking, but obviously from a safety perspective. There's over 50 schools in the state that use this program. Again, there are 3 others in our county that do, and so we've discussed with them what that looks like to implement. The cost for the program for the first year for implementation and operation for the first year is $77,877, and that covers everything, all of the hardware, because obviously there's going to be a great deal of that's going to be required to set the system up. Also training, supplies, and for that implementation. After that, the program cost is about $25,000 annually. We already spend a significant amount annually on a GPS system and a routing system that will not be necessary anymore once we have this system. So going forward, the charge to the local budget will be really pretty nominal. The other nice thing about this is because of the timing, we can purchase the Smart Tag system with ESSER funds, which we have available right now, and so we're able to go ahead and implement that at this time, and we can purchase through the buy board. So one last piece, if approved, the Transportation Department already plans to pilot this at Ray Allen in the spring with the goal of full implementation district-wide in the fall. And Amy Skopak and our principal at Ray Allen have already discussed this, so we would be ready to start moving that direction in the spring if that's something that you all would so choose to approve tonight. Do you have any questions?
I would think this would give a great comfort and for the parents to know that their students can be tracked. You know, they can look on the app on the phone
Yes.
and see exactly where they are.
Yeah, I think for parents, it's wonderful. For bus drivers,
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
for the district too, yeah.
Because they, that's a lot of responsibility, obviously. And again, it's really the case early in the year. That's where you really see the challenges more because everything's new and everyone's new and bus drivers haven't had a chance to learn who the people are and where their normal stops are. So yeah, it will especially be beneficial then. Sure. But yeah, it really, I think, is money well spent. And again, I know most close to us, Georgetown and Belton both have used it for the last couple of years, and it's they're sold on it, and they spoke very highly of it. So there's going to be some implementation and just some learning that we'll all do. But again, transportation's already got that planned out for the spring semester. So by the time we get to the fall, hopefully it'll come off without a hitch.
Members, any further questions? This does require approval.
I move to approve.
Motion by Ms. Gowan,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Suarez. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. It's approved.
Thank you, Mr. Posey.
Appreciate that.
Transportation will be very excited.
Yes. It does sound like a great
A lot
program.
of people will be.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I agree. Item 2 is consideration for approval of an amendment for architectural services for a future elementary school.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Posey. This action tonight serves as really the next step in addressing future growth that was identified previously in our demographic study. If approved, this simply amends the original contract for architectural services with Stantec, which was originally approved in 2016. The fee for these will be calculated as a percentage of the overall scope of work, which is traditionally the way that any of that is figured. And approval of this would allow us to continue to move forward with designing and planning. So we would recommend that, bring that to you for your consideration and recommend approval of that amendment to the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. Any questions? It does require approval. Motion by Dr. Sanhi. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Seconded by Mrs. Davis. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you all very much.
Appreciate it. Item D is student services, and no items tonight. Quiet item. All right. We'll wait for January. Yes. Wait for January. Okay. Yeah, all right. Item E is board committee reports. One, the Facilities Committee meeting for November 18th, 2021 was canceled, and no meeting is scheduled for December 2021. And the next committee meeting is Thursday, January 27th, 2022 at 4 p.m. 2 is Policy Committee update. Mrs. Davis.
The meeting for the Policy Committee was called to order at 4 p.m. on November 17th. Christine Parks presented the Safe Return to School plan. This year's plan is similar to last year's plan and only has a few changes. She reviewed the changes with the committee. Gunnar Sequist handed out packets of the proposed draft redistricting plan derived from the 2020 census data. He presented a map that would get the boundaries back into the required bounds. The committee recommended several changes. This revised map was presented earlier tonight. Final adoption of trustee districts is scheduled for January 11th, 2022 at a regular board meeting. The meeting was adjourned at 5:45 p.m. The December Policy Committee meeting has been canceled. The next meeting is scheduled for January 26th, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Davis. With that, there are no further items. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.